Welcome to our November Double Stuffed special featuring Pretty Reckless by Rhea Wilde. Something was stolen from me, so I stole something back. And I have been running ever since. But when you have nothing to live for, you search for those hidden moments that truly make you feel alive. What I hadn't expected to find was a piece of my past buried in the underground pits of Red Hill. I went searching for the beast and I found something much better. I didn't foresee Hawk, and I definitely wasn't ready for Enzo. But both of them were damn sure they wanted to keep me here until secrets started to unravel and truths began to spill. How could there ever be a future for the three of us when everything so far has been built on lies? If there's one thing I know for sure, it's that being pretty reckless hurts, but being silent kills.
Pretty Reckless is a dark standalone MMF romance. There may be content in this book that some may find triggering. These include graphic violence, blood, use of weapons, mentions of attempted SA and attempted murder of a minor past, violence against FMC not by the MMCs, organized crime/mafia, grief/loss, and extremely morally gray characters. This is a MMF romance. This is not a love triangle. Scenes will include MM, MF, MFM, and MMF.
Okay, I'm prepared for you to carry tonight, so
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm just going to put that out there right now.
I got notes, but
Yeah, I don't.
I read too early. What time do you leave tomorrow?
My flight leaves at like 10:30.
In the morning?
Yeah, but we have to drive to Orlando and it's an hour and a half.
Right. I was just
Yeah.
asking.
Welcome.
We are tired. It is November. It snowed today.
Ew.
I found out it only snowed in this part of New Hampshire, so my friends that are in the more southern part of New Hampshire did not get snow. So, and it came out of nowhere while we were on our way to the PD, and the roads were trash. My friend almost spun out, and we missed.
You have other friends
a road.
besides me. This is not acceptable.
Sorry, my work friend. Sorry.
I'm such an asshole. I don't actually care. You can have other friends. We are going to be finishing out November. This is
Yes.
the last special of the month
Yes.
for our double stuffed. And it was double stuffed right at the end.
It was. I mean, there was action throughout, but
Oh, for sure.
what we were looking for. Yes. We were hoping there was more throughout the whole thing, but
overall it was good.
what we were looking for, we had to wait for the whole thing to be over. Welcome to November.
Welcome to Double Stuffed November, baby.
Double Stuffed November episode. Our last Double Stuffed special.
We did state that we were going to be so unhinged between now and the rest of the year. I almost said school year again. This is not a school year.
To be honest, we probably will be unhinged for the rest of the school year. So, I mean, you probably were just prophesizing,
preemptively saying it.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
it is what it is. So, you're welcome for our unhinged before the end of the year. It's just going to keep getting better. I mean,
and in honor of the end of Double Stuff November, Ariel and I will be stuffing our faces with food for the entirety of this episode, which
that's really not that different.
I was just going to say, it's not any different than any other episode ever. The entirety.
You're always stuffing your face, and I'm stuffing my face probably half the time. So
yeah, yep. They stuffed someone's face in this book.
Oh yeah, they did.
So the book that we read today was Pretty Reckless by I Have No Idea
by Rhea Wilde.
And guess what? It was not only just reckless, but also wild.
In lots of ways.
In a lot of ways.
I'm going to be kind. I'm going to try really hard.
Because if I don't,
I'm going to go into a rant. I was really sad.
Uh-oh. She was.
Okay, should I just get the rant over with now, or should I do it later? What have you been saying
when you're sad about things?
Big fat sad.
Big fat sad.
Big fat sad. I might want to get it out of the way.
So stay tuned to see if the rant stays in. Congratulations. It wasn't that bad. If I pulled it out, oopsie poopsies, check out the Patreon next year. Because it'll be there.
Stay tuned for my rant about why authors need editors or they should not publish books.
I didn't think
Okay,
this
thanks,
was that
bye.
bad. Hey, listen.
Bristol, you didn't think this was. Oh, nope, no. You didn't think this was that bad?
I mean, I read it today, so I don't know. Maybe I
She
didn't
didn't
ruminate
know.
enough. Maybe I didn't ruminate on it enough.
The verbs in the sentences didn't have the same tense
I didn't
in
even clock that. I'm gonna be
almost
honest.
every chapter.
Wasn't even paying attention.
Commas
Honestly,
were all fucking willy-nilly.
I probably skimmed over them.
Sometimes there was not enough.
Well, the rant's
Nobody
going on
knew
now,
how to do
guys.
Okay, I will save it. I will save it. Hi. Hi.
Hello. Hola.
I actually am excited to bring you
Bienvenue.
2 men and a woman doubly stuffing for November. However many editing issues I may have had, stay tuned for my rant. We still had a story here. So let's
We
dive
did.
in.
And it was
Pretty
a story.
Reckless. It was a story. Pretty Reckless starts off with a prologue of 15 years ago. And it starts off in a foster home where we have a 15-year-old boy named Enzo and a 14-year-old girl who we don't know her name at this point. And they are fighting off scummy men and their foster parent, and just bad shit is happening to them. Enzo is trying to protect this little girl. They are in love, and he has to watch her get manhandled and try to fight against these guys, and her fighting back causes one of them to take a knife and slit her throat. Welcome. We're starting off real heavy. Make sure you check your triggers, please.
I think
This
it
man
was put in
slits-
the beginning of this book to check your trigger warnings.
I
did not check them. I just went balls to the wall with it. To be fair.
I was just reminding people.
Oh, yeah.
I was just about to say
I
reminding
already
friends
deleted
like
it
I talk to my
second.
4-year-olds, but reminding reminding people to check their triggers. So he's watching this man slit the girl he loves throat in front of him, watching her bleed out in front of him, watching the life fade from her eyes.
We end on the prologue, and then it opens with Blake. That's all I got.
Great.
That's all I know.
That was a great start.
I thought I did pretty well.
Blake, you did.
Started it with one sentence.
Blake has found this underground illegal fighting pit, and she's excited. She is looking for someone who is known as the Enforcer. He is the
She's
reigning
a little bit
champ.
more than excited.
He is the reigning champ of this underground ring, and she wants to volunteer to fight him. She needs a fix. She needs this adrenaline rush. She knows that she probably is not going to stand a chance at defeating him, but she needs this moment. And at first, everyone refuses to let her fight, and she kind of bullies her way into it, even after she sees this man. And he definitely strikes something in the nether regions, if you know what I mean.
Not only do his looks invoke something in her nether regions, but the thought of like potentially getting her ass kicked also does.
She's living on the edge, baby. She finally gets her way, bullies her way into this fight. The Enforcer doesn't really want to fight her. He keeps trying to get her to tap out. He won't hurt her. He's just kind of like defensively like blocking her and trying to like box her in to get her to tap out. But he realizes pretty quick that it's pointless and there's no way she's going to tap out. So he does, which shocks everyone. But he does. She is not happy with this.
No, but he's doing this whole thing with a fucking shit-eating grin on his face.
But he does not have a grin on his face when she won't tap out. He's mad. So she don't like this. Blake doesn't like this. And he does enjoy her against his body, though. But Blake doesn't like him tapping out. And as he's walking away, she freaking attacks him from behind and tries to attack him leaving. So he just picks her up and dumps her back into the ring. It's so funny. He's like, I'm done.
Peace out, bitches.
Seriously. And technically, if you want to have a technicality, she won, but everyone knows who the real winner is. So She obviously is off the stage now, kind of nursing her wounds. She finds the makeshift bar, and there's this bartender there. He's real hot, and he's flirting with her up a storm. In fact, he tells her,
And he's got this nifty ass scar on his eye.
and he tells her his name. And then he tells her, "You think I gave you my name because I want to be friends? Not even close, darling. I just want to make sure you know the name to scream when I bury myself in between those pretty thighs."
My eyes went like this.
I was like,
I was like, "Ooh, okay."
"Hello there.
Do you what now?
Can we hear more?" He
Tell
came
me
on
more
real
about
strong,
what you're thinking of doing.
right?
He came
came
off
on real
strong,
strong.
but come on. He knows. He can see through her, though.
He's
That
a
man
hot
can
tamale.
beat people. Yeah, he is. With a hot tamale.
So the enforcer comes on over, knocks on the bar top for a drink. He serves him, and Blake starts poking at him. Like,
Poking the bear.
what? You don't talk? Like, you must not be able to satisfy the ladies. And like on and on, like you can't talk, you must not be able to kiss, all this stuff. And oh, all of a sudden, bam, his mouth is on hers like lightning.
My favorite part
And I
was
was
Hawk's comment afterwards.
well, and I was like, that escalated quickly.
It really did.
No, this is just the beginning.
This is right at the beginning of the book. This is not a novella, for the record, guys.
And then he just fucking again takes off and pieces out. And of course, Hawk's over here like, if you want to know how skilled his tongue was, you
Should
should
just
have asked
ask.
me.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Which, touche.
Okay. Touche.
That's where we're going with this. Okay, sounds great. So Hawk asks her then, because apparently this is the cool thing to do. He sees how flustered and hot and bothered she is. And then, "You want to come home with me?" "Yeah, let's go." Simple as that. Bada bing, bada boom.
I mean, he did tell her at the very beginning, but I'm only telling you my name so you know what to scream later. So it went from 0 to fuck her very quickly.
First chapter. We were already getting action. I like me some action first chapter. Just saying. Especially in my specials. I like them especially actiony.
I think she's lost it, folks. I think we finally hit the point. We are, what, 8 months into this and she's already hit her breaking point?
That's pretty good.
You can't hit the breaking point till we're like 3 years in.
Oh, I didn't realize we had a deadline. My bad.
At least give it a year.
Let me get my shit together.
I think I broke over the summer. I think I broke like 3 months in. So.
Anyways, so Hawk takes Blake off down the hall, still in the underground pits. Apparently, this is where he lives. There's apartments down there. Cool beans. Everything's all situated in the same place. Guess there's not a lot of settings in here. Okay, we can work with that. But someone is following them. Oh, surprise! It's the enforcer. He follows them back to Hawk's apartment, and Hawk and Blake start getting it on, and the enforcer's watching, and then he joins in, and they're having a grand old time. I mean, Hawk is having a grand old time in the Thanksgiving pie, but the enforcer is not, but he's still joining in and having cranberry sauce or something. I don't know.
Is he going to contribute some gravy?
I think he does contribute some gravy. Yes, he does. He contributes the whipped cream to the pie. So then they all head back out onto the floor of the pits to continue their night. But of course, Blake's a flighty, flaky bitch, and she slips out.
Peace out, motherfucker. That was
like,
Blake.
"Oh,
That's what Blake said.
had my time. Now I'm
Well,
done. Gotta
she
run."
did say that, she never stays in a same place for very long. And if she sees men, like, she doesn't do relationships. So, like, one night stand, boom, never going to see them again. Peace the fuck out. But yes, she is very flighty and severely independent and honestly kind of a bitch.
Blake's out here living her best life. She has been living out of her van and traveling for 4 years now. And she has seen the enforcer. She's tackled, not quite conquered, but she's ready to move on. And she's ready to move on to the next town. And her engine doesn't quite start on her van. And she has some engine troubles. And She is going through her money, trying to see if she has enough money to fix it. And two men see her there in the parking lot alone at night and take advantage of this situation.
Because men are trash. Men are garbage.
Men are trash.
Men suck so much dick and don't get much ass.
Maybe they like it that way.
Because they are all super gay.
Hawk certainly does.
Yeah, he does.
Anywho,
Sorry.
so
Oh boy.
they take advantage of this opportunity. They beat her up, rob her, vandalize her van. So now she is busted, broken, with no van, no money. This is her car. This is her vehicle. This is her home. She doesn't want to go to the hospital to get checked out because the hospital means bills. And not only that, but it also means someone checking your identity, which she has alluded to us that she has changed her identity many times over the years because she has had to.
And she doesn't want people to find her. We don't learn yet who or why, but, you know, you don't hide
She's
your
on the run.
identity for no reason.
Correct. I mean, if you're not a complete moron, you can figure out from the
Why?
prologue who this girl is.
Yeah, and
But
like, yeah,
it's obvious.
it's obvious,
But
guys.
there's no
You know.
twists and turns in this book.
Not really.
I didn't mean that as a negative. I was just saying in general. It's just pretty straightforward. So she needs to make some money. Stat. She goes back to the only place she really knows in this area, and she goes back to the underground pits, the ring, to make money, which little pickpocketing here and there to acquire some cash. Hawk, tending the bar, is watching her pickpocket all these people the whole time. She idles over to the bar after she's done scrounging for cash. She thinks that she could get in a fight to make a little bit more money, and then that might set her up good to go. And she tries to convince Hawk of that to set her up, but he sees her face.
Yeah, her face not good, bro.
He no likey.
He no likey. Yeah, it's pretty beat the fucking up. What the fuck did I just say? It's
And
beat the fuck up.
The enforcer, who we know, she doesn't, but we know his name is Enzo.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking. No, just like the little boy at the beginning. Enzo sees Hawk freaking out over her face, and he has to rush right over and see what's up. And so now the two of them are like, what the fuck? And trying to figure out what's happened. And she passes out.
That's what happens when you get a concussion and then
Mhm.
you refuse to go to the hospital.
So we should also mention
No,
that
I'm just kidding.
why they call Enzo the enforcer. It's literally because he's the enforcer for the mafia.
Oh my god, in case you're curious, Mafia.
They quick dial the mafia doc, Devin, to check her out. He says she has a concussion, possibly broken bones. She needs to get some scans.
And she's freaking the fuck out because she doesn't want these fucking scans.
She doesn't want to go to the hospital.
No.
But she placates everyone and agrees to stay with Hawk for the night with the plan of sneaking out after midnight.
Yeah. And of course, like a lot of this stuff too is really throwing up some red flags for Enzo. Not that he
Why
says it
does
out
she
loud
refuse?
because, you know, he doesn't speak, but
Yeah.
we do get his internal dialogue. And he texts a lot with Hawk too.
Like,
but yes.
why does she refuse to go to the hospital?
She
why
like he didn't really
is
trust
she so
her from
sketchy?
and he didn't really trust her from the moment he kind of like laid her eyes
I
on
don't
her.
think he trusted his attraction to her, and I don't think he trusted her reckless abandon getting in the ring.
Well, yeah, because she's stupid. Anyways,
Not wrong.
yeah, she has plans of sneaking out while everyone is asleep. So she sets an alarm for kind of right before they're supposed to come check on her. So she sets the alarm, and then when the alarm goes off,
Sorry. Note, I don't mean to be, okay, whatever. I am a bitch. But if you are going to write a book and you are going to have professionals in your book, you need to do research. This
Oh,
book
boy.
was not written very long ago. However, the doctor in this book told them that with a concussion, she is to be woken up every hour or two for safety. That used to be a thing back when we were little. It has since been disproven quite a bit ago, at least 5 years ago, and it is no longer recommended by any medical professional. And it can be found by a simple Google search. Just saying. That kind of stuff irritates me. It's not hard to do your research.
Anyways, so she sets an alarm so that she can sneak out before anybody comes to check on her. So she finds some like sweatpants and a sweat. She's getting all like bundled up, stealing their shit. I mean, she doesn't have
And it just
anything. Her van
happens
just
to be spare clothes in the spare room.
I mean, you would think, okay, so there would be spare clothes in a spare room, especially considering that this is in the pit. And I'm assuming if there's shit going on south with people and people need to hide out or something, they'll go here. So you know what?
Into
I get it.
Hawks? Hawk doesn't talk to anybody.
I'm just saying, but if Enzo gave a little look and needed some help with something, Hawk would
Gave a
absolutely
little
say
look.
yes. Yeah.
He doesn't talk.
And listen, they have hinted that they have shared women together in the past.
Oh.
And you would think with that, they would just keep extra shit just in case. And what if they get into an argument and one needs to stay in the spare room?
It was a very huge missed opportunity that this man has been silent for 15 years and he doesn't know sign language.
Oh, yeah, that would have been cool.
Wouldn't that have been a nice touch?
I know, that would have been sweet, but that didn't happen.
Now I'm sad.
So she goes to sneak out. And then what happens, Ariel?
Because Crystal forgot.
Well, no, because what's going to happen is I'm going to tell it wrong. And Ariel says, nope, it's actually this way. So I would rather not be an idiot. So continue.
She gets caught by
I know
Hawk
my place sometimes.
in the kitchen. Aren't you a woman?
Do you want me to call you daddy too? Like, Daddy
Well,
Ariel?
my good girl.
Oh my God, stop it.
So she is caught by Hawk. Dun dun dun.
Because he can see her with his hawk eyes.
But it's okay, because Hawk stigmatizes her.
They didn't use that word, but still, he definitely does.
They did not use that word because they are not cool enough to use that word.
It's a great
I am
word.
using that word because it is my favorite word. Thank you, Brandon Weaver and Trisha Wolfe, forevermore.
We love you so much.
Our savior.
Did you just go like that? Did you just salute
Yep.
them?
Yep. Thank you for digmatize.
We love
We love you.
Vic.
I'm going to use it wherever and however
So do you
I
think
can.
if Trisha
It worked in
Wolfe,
this, though.
do you think if they started a cult, you would join it? The Dickmatized cult? Yeah.
Sounds legit. I want a shirt that says digmatize. Do you think
Okay.
that they could sell merch like that?
Probably. If not, we can.
Digmatize. But it's not our word.
It is now. I'm just kidding. Can we use that? Okay. Question for Trisha Wolfe and Bryn Weaver.
Can we use your word?
Can we use
can
that
we
word
make a
and
shirt
put it
for
on?
that?
Can we put them on shirts and also put them on stickers?
Because
And
we like to digmatize people.
We'll make Dickmatized cult merch. Ah, nailed it.
Yes, we would
If-
like to be the
if
first
it's-
members of the digmatized cult.
If that's okay with you guys.
So Hawk digmatizes Blake and gets her to agree to stay and get checked at the hospital off the record. And apparently nobody cares how injured she is after all this,
No, because Dick can fix everything.
begging her
Duh.
to go to the hospital and how badly she is to go to the hospital. And they all just kind of start getting it on. And it finally takes her wincing to get them to stop and have them go back to bed. Fuckers. So,
They were horny. I don't know what to tell you.
digmatized.
They were.
Digmatized.
I was trying to think of a word for the vagina one, and I can't. Pussmatized. Oh, I hate that.
Vommatized.
I hate that word so much.
I know you do.
Anyways,
We can ask Katie Ray if she can make a better one.
Katie, I love you. Can we think of another word?
Vommatized. Vaginatized.
Nope. I said pussmatized, and that's even worse.
Fantastic. So they go to the hospital for scans. She has a broken cheekbone, and they had agreed that if she had just gone to the hospital, she could leave afterwards. So she says, walk me to the train. And Hawk walks her to the train and he tells the story of how he met Enzo. Hawk was in New York, and Hawk's brother was part of a gang in New York and got caught up with this gang. And something happened where the gang thought that Hawk's brother stole something from them. And so they took Hawk and his brother and tortured Hawk. And Hawk thought that his brother was dead, that they killed him. And Enzo showed up to do something with this gang and rescued Hawk and took him home.
Yeah, he did.
But hearing Enzo's name for the first time scared the shit out of Blake. Surprised and scared her. And she was
She
like, I have
froze
to
in
go.
place.
Yeah, she's like, I have to go. Bye. And she takes off.
First, she kind of goes, it can't be. It can't be. And then she is like, I could go. And then, boom, Blake-shaped hole in the door.
Except there's no door. They were walking outside to the train station.
Blake-shaped hole in the night.
Blake-shaped cloud in the...
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Then we get a backstory / flashback of what happened to Blake after we saw in the prologue. And this is when like the weird tenses start in the book, where like the verbs are switching from between past and present in the same sentence. And then it kind of just continues on. So we find that she actually, obviously, surprise, did in fact live. And when she finally got out of the hospital after a grueling stay there, recuperating, when she came back to find Enzo, he was gone, even though he promised to always be there. So she felt like he left her and he abandoned her. And
So there was a lot of anger and resentment for that because, he said that he would find her and come for her. And she was like, he had to have known that I was alive because my foster family knew that I was alive and they must have said something. So she was just pissed because that's where that abandonment comes from. And she's like, he knew I was alive and he still didn't come for me. And that's what happens when you assume.
yeah, and I came back for him, the boy I had fallen in love with, who had cared for me, held me when I was scared, wiped away my tears when I was sad. He was the only good thing I had, but even that was gone now. He left me. He left. So then she spends the next several years hunting down the man who slit her throat. And
which, I mean, vengeance. That's what I would want.
yes, and she does find him in a gang in New York. Shock! Ah! She catches up with the man who slit her throat. She assimilates herself in with the gang undercover. He does not recognize her, so that's easy to do. And she waits until his defenses are lowered and takes him out.
The exact same way that he tried to kill her with a broken bottle, slashed it, but she made sure he was dead.
Yeah.
She waited and made sure that motherfucker was dead. Though probably not the smartest move.
So she stole $100,000 from this motherfucker.
Also, again, not the smartest move.
And booked it. So now they have been after her ever since, this gang, for killing this man and stealing from them.
Which, that's what happens when you do those things.
When you mess with a gang.
Yeah.
I mean.
Blood in, blood out. Sorry.
She's waiting at the train station, having this flashback. And she's thinking a lot about Enzo and him being back in her life and this weird thing. And she just realizes she's not quite ready to let go. And she's not ready to leave. So she heads back to the underground pits. She heads back to Hawk. Yeah, so Hawk is overjoyed to see her.
Of course he is. That man is in love with this woman.
Because Hawk's arc with her is very weird and quick and very insta-lovey. It's not much between the two of them in terms of story arc, but it is what it is. Meanwhile, Enzo has Blake's muggers in the basement of the mob house, and he kind of shows how much he is kind of liking her so far and really pairs them a new one, or rather beats them a new one. So We fast forward 2 weeks of her staying at Hawks and just enjoying their company. They're feeling all the
Yes, she
feels.
is.
She's kind of feeling a little jealous that he found someone else being Hawk, as well as being mad he left her to begin with, as well as wanting more. She wants to stay. She's feeling the urge to go. She's feeling panicky. She's getting that itch
Yeah,
to
she's getting
go,
the
and
itch
it's
because
too many feelings.
yeah, it's too many feelings and she never stays in the same place for very long. So it's kind of just like a combination of everything all at once.
And then Hawk can almost sense this happening. And once again, he comes in and digmatizes her. Enzo walks in and, has to join the party as per usual, because they like to get it
But
on.
to put it out there, Enzo never actually fucks her. Only Hawk
He
has
plays with
actually,
Hawk, he plays with her, he
and
just
then
never actually
and then he
penetrates
does
her.
like, you know,
Well, no, he penetrates her mouth. He just never penetrates her vajayjay.
he does other things to Hawk.
Yeah,
He'll fuck Hawk, but
because
he will not fuck
he
her.
fucks her mouth. Yeah.
He does fuck her mouth. Yeah, there's some mouth fucking in this one.
So next, we find them in the pits again. It is nighttime. They are just kind of enjoying themselves down there because they're in the pits all the time because Enzo and Hawk run the pits. And there's two drunks that stumble upon the bar area where she's sitting near Hawk, and they try to get handsy with Blake and try to really get up in her area. But she takes a bottle to one's face while Hawk cripples the other's hand, takes him down to the ground. As she's trying to get away, the bottle dude grabs Blake's leg and she goes down. We should mention that this entire time she has worn a cuff around her neck and she's been very mysterious about it. The boys have asked her several times about it and she has been very weird and vague about it and she refuses to take it off. But in this scuffle, the cuff gets ripped off and Enzo sees and their eyes lock and Enzo speaks.
Well,
He
okay.
says one word.
She has
He
her hand
says,
up covering it, and there's
Lyra.
blood. So, and she goes through her eyes.
From the beer bottle dude. Yeah.
Right. So her eyes, because she gets a flashback after all of this, seeing all the blood and has her hand up like that, and she gets the flashback. He sees it in her eyes that she's going through some things, and then yes, he
Right.
realizes.
She's having a PTSD moment.
Yes. And he recognizes that, and then it kind of kickstarts into his brain.
But he sees where the scar is located,
Yeah.
sees her eyes that are the same eyes, sees the location, and he utters the first word we've heard him say. And we should also make it known that in one of his chapters, he explains to us that he is not speaking for a reason. He has not spoken for the last 15 years because that man who killed Lyra stole her voice. So he was going to be silent for her and he would not talk for her. He would give his voice to her.
So cute.
So that was his gut initial reaction. Then self-doubt and panic sets in and his inner voice is telling him it must be a trick. He knows Lyra's dead. This can't be Lyra. Blake must be impersonating Lyra to get to him. It must be a trick. And he takes Blake by the neck and grabs her hard and threatens her and tells her to run. And he better not find her.
Because if he catches her, he will kill her.
So
Blake does the smart thing and gets the fuck out of there.
She fucking scurries back to Hawk's apartment to pack up. And Hawk rushes. He realizes what has happened, tries to convince her to stay. She's like, fuck no, I'm not an idiot. And she has a tearful goodbye with Hawk. And she takes off to the bus station. So Enzo needs to be sure and have info about this girl. He's now becoming obsessive about it. So he goes to the impound lot where her van was taken after it was vandalized. He says that he thinks that he needs to check out the van. He thinks that might be the key to finding something out about her. And he's right. He finds multiple IDs in the van showing her when she was younger and all the different aliases and names she's had. And he sees his Lyra. He realizes that in her mind and now in his, that not on purpose, but he abandoned her. He told her he'd always be there for her and he would never leave her, but he thought she was dead and she wasn't, but he left and abandoned her. So he goes to the Don of the Mafia, Gabriel, and he asks Gabriel for help. Now that he has the IDs, now that he has all this info, he asks if he can find information on where she's been for the last 15 years, if he can find a trail for her.
It's good to point out, too, that this man has not spoken for 15 years, and he comes into this house and starts speaking, and, like, as soon as his voice is up, Gabriel's like, what do you need? Like, he pops up because obviously it's something where if Enzo is speaking, it's kind of important.
I think he's also kind of a little scared to go back and face Hawk right away until he gets a little bit of information, because in his mind, the only reason he didn't kill her on the spot was for Hawk, because he knew that Hawk loved her and Enzo loves Hawk and didn't want to jeopardize that relationship. Now that he was wrong,
He dumb fucked up.
Yeah. Yep. So he finally gets up the courage to go back to see Hawk, though, and Hawk is not doing great. He's really desolate, and all he has to say is she's gone. And Enzo vows that he will bring her back. So he heads to the bus station. She's sitting there waiting for a bus. She sees him, gets scared shitless.
I mean, he just said
running.
that he was gonna kill her if he saw her again. Jesus.
And he catches her. She's like, I just need another hour. Like, I'm just waiting for the bus. Like,
I'm just trying to leave, I promise.
Right. I'll be gone.
And guess what this man
And then
does?
he kisses
instead?
her. So she fucking bites him because fuck you, buddy.
You just told me you were gonna
So-
murder my face, and then instead
Right.
you just kissed me, and so I'm gonna bite you back.
So then they hash it out. Like, you left me, well, you died, back and forth. Like, and then he finally, after they just finish hashing out in their heaving, and he just says to her, like, what do you want? And she's just, I don't know. And then they kiss again. So he brings her home.
Yeah, he does.
Bada bing, bada boom. That was fast.
Lots of quick
So it's-
resolutions.
Yes. And it's finally Enzo's turn to fuck her.
And this man
Ta-da!
is huge.
Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, big boy.
Yeah, he is.
I was waiting for them to whip out the piercings, but they were sadly
I
none.
was so disappointed. I knew you were gonna be sad that there was no piercings.
I feel like we've just had so many lately.
We have. We've been a little spoiled.
I have been spoiled. So Gabriel calls him, tells him to come over, and he gives him the news that New York gang is looking for Blake.
Gabriel's like, how do you know this woman? Because of all the information that Gabriel has found, he really wants to know, like, how do you know her? Like, this is just not somebody.
How did you get involved in this?
Yeah, exactly.
How he's going to be jeopardized with his own
Yeah.
dealings.
Because they have, like, I guess peace treaties, but not really, like, with all the other gangs, and, like,
They have
an
an
understanding.
understanding. The New York gang is looking for Blake because what we already know, she killed one of the members and stole from them.
Well,
That's-
we know that, but Enzo's just now finding out.
Right. So he panics and calls Hawk and is like, you need to keep her safe, keep an eye on her. And he's like, we're at the bus station. What do you mean? Like,
Get her home now.
she just ran into the bus station. She had left her bag there when you fucking molested her in the street and took her home. And he's like, you don't have eyes on her? Like, you need to get her home now. And so Hawk starts, running towards her, sees her, and then hears a gunshot. And then hears another gunshot. And then sees her running towards him, screaming at him to run. And then they both jump into the car as fast as they can and book it out of there towards the pits. And he looks over at her, and all you can see is blood. So much blood.
And Hawk
So they
is
pull into
panicking.
Yeah. They pull into the warehouse where, like, the upper portion of where the underground pits are located. And Enzo, Gabriel, and all those people are already waiting there with Devin, the doctor. I mean, coincidentally, fabulously.
I mean, he's a doctor employed by the mafia. I'm assuming he's just on standby at this point.
Yeah, but nobody knew that they were coming and bleeding.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. Well, or maybe Enzo preemptively called him just in case.
Right.
Because, yeah, because
that's all I could think of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're waiting, thank goodness. So Devin starts helping her and patching her up. She's sleeping. So while she's sleeping, Hawk and Enzo are back on the floor in the pits. Enzo needs to work off some aggression in the ring. And Hawk, I think, just wants to keep a little bit of an eye on him. And she's passed out anyways from all the pain meds and everything. Well, it can't just end there. The pits are under attack. It's chaos. There's gunshots. There's people fighting. Everything's crazy. And Hawk's brother, who's magically alive,
surprise,
and Scott, the leader of the New York gang, corner and kind of use Hawk as leverage to get Enzo to comply. And they have them tied up. So Scott goes looking for his prize, and he starts kicking in the apartment
and Scott
doors.
Is the douchebag.
Yes, he thinks he is owed Blake because of all that has happened.
Yeah, a life for a life.
So he kicks in Hawk's apartment door. Blake is still kind of woozy and hazy, but she can hear all the commotion going on outside, and she quickly grabs a gun and is hiding and can hear everyone busting in the apartment. And Scott is not alone. He's got a whole army behind him. But once they're kind of filing and looking, she spots an opportunity with the door open still, and she takes a shot at Scott, which misses, but it gives her an opportunity to run out the door. But she doesn't make it very far because she makes it to the pit floor and sees Enzo and Hawk tied up under guns and realizes she can't run any further. She can't leave them. And of course, Scott catches up with her and has a gun to her head and is like, tell them what you did. And she tells them her story. But little did she know, which Scott and Hawk's brother
Eli
is ever so kindly happy to share. That money that she stole is why Hawk's brother got the blame for the money being stolen from the gang. And that's what got Hawk tortured, was her stealing that money. But she had no idea.
No, she didn't know at all. And Hawk's a little shocked at the revelation that the reason all of this has happened is because of her.
Right. But she stands her ground and she says, I'm sorry that you guys took the fall, but I'm not sorry for what I did. And she explains what this man did to her and why she needed. And Eli
gets a bit of a conscience.
Yeah, I don't think he was actually a bad guy to begin with. I think he just got pulled in because they blamed him for the money. And hearing her story really just sucked him in. She's the one who's holding Hawk hostage. And he whispers something in Hawk's ear. And it almost looks like he gives him something, but they aren't 100% sure. And Eli starts talking to Scott and he says, well, it should be my revenge to take, don't you think? Since my brother was tortured, I was the one who took the fall for this. Shouldn't it be my kill? And steps right up, and Scott, not very happily, complies, but he concedes and lets him take over.
And she's like fully accepting of this at this point.
Yeah, it is what it is.
She's
she
like,
realizes
you
what
know
has
what?
happened.
I did it. I accept it. Just do it.
And everything happens really fast. All of a sudden, Eli turns and attacks Scott and then starts shooting all the armed men around them. which at the same time, Hawk, who was given a knife, surprise, cuts Enzo free. Enzo takes Scott, what's left of Scott, and pummels the fuck out of him.
Basically into mashed potatoes.
I lied. Mashed potatoes were harmed in the making of this episode. But then quickly turns onto Eli and starts trying to take Eli out. Hawk steps in. No, don't.
And I think he just turned on him because he's just in a blind rage at this point.
Not only is he in a blind rage, but he kind of caused a lot of this.
Yeah, well.
So.
I mean, he was mad.
Yes. So Eli takes his leave.
Scott's dead.
Scott is dead. Enzo makes sure that Eli knows that he should probably just leave. Blake tries talking to Hawk because she saw his face for all of it, and he just says, I need time. I need space right now.
Which I don't blame him at all.
And she says, I'll make it easy. I understand. I'll leave. And she plans just to leave. And he says no. He says, I love you. And then the book ends just like that. And then we have an epilogue of 6 months later, and they double stuff her.
Yeah, they
for
do.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I don't think it was for actual Thanksgiving. But
It
yes,
is
they
in our
do.
mind.
It is in our minds. Yes, they do double stuff her in the good double stuffing, not the spit roasting. This is not a spit roast. This is a turkey with the stuffing, extra
They
stuffing.
did spit roasting plenty.
Well, they spit roasted her a lot throughout the book, but this was the double stuffing that I wanted.
Right.
This was the fun one
Yes.
with
Yes.
two very big men. And that was the book. Happy early Thanksgiving, guys.
Yes.
Yes, because it's not Thanksgiving yet. I had to look at my
We
calendar.
hope you enjoyed being double stuffed. Who was your favorite character?
Hawk was my favorite character. I liked him a lot. Like, I understand,
I
like, he
wish
had
we got more depth from him.
yeah, because we didn't get a lot of his backstory. I mean, there wasn't a whole ton of backstory except for obviously Blake and a little bit more Enzo, but I liked Hawk. I liked he could clock her stuff straight away from a distance. He seemed kind of easygoing, but he literally would probably murder a whole shit ton of people.
Well, I
for-
want Hawk to be my favorite too, but that's why I feel like I wish she was like fully given a
Fleshed
whole
out.
character.
It was him and hot take, Gabriel was my other guy.
Well,
I
Gabriel
liked-
has his own book.
Perfect. I will be reading that probably. I liked that he wasn't just this like mafia boss dude, right? Because he is the head of this mafia, but he did actually seem to care about the people in his
Mhm.
mafia, and even like his wife is just like, okay. But they seem to kind of care for even Blake. So it was kind of nice to see that. And Gabriel was like, what do you need? Like, so I enjoyed that part of his character. So him and Hawk were
Yeah.
two of my favorites. Yeah.
I can get on board with that.
How about you?
I think I can agree. I just like I do wish Hawk was
More fleshed out.
fleshed out, or the main character that he was.
Yeah.
I feel like we missed out. Like we don't even know how old he was, where we
That's
know
true.
how old the other characters are. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like he was given a disservice.
Mhm.
He was just given that insta love. Their relationship wasn't really developed. It was just even the end where they had that possible conflict was just like, oh,
It was
it's
just a
all
quick
better
one.
now.
The conflict resolution in this was very quick and a very big, quick turnover for everything. There wasn't a whole lot. Who is your least favorite?
The doctor, since he doesn't know how to doctor, Devin, since he gives poor medical advice.
I didn't like Blake.
I figured based
It
on your
wa-
comments.
I don't know. Like parts of her personality I was okay with. I have issues with everyone's fucking personality when I don't like them. I don't know. I didn't mind
You
like
haven't
I
liked a lot of female characters lately.
I know, especially like the main characters of books. What the
Mhm.
fuck? I think for me is like I understand the self-preservation mode of murdering somebody because they fucked you over, but she was, as the title states, she was very reckless about a lot of the things that she did. And I can understand past trauma, blah, blah,
Though I
blah.
didn't like that every single time that was brought up, it was pretty little reckless.
Oh, I didn't even
in the
catch the
book.
little. So I don't know. I just didn't like her. I wasn't a fan. I didn't like her decision making. I didn't like her. I just didn't like her. I mean, who
Totally.
jumps on someone's back after they don't want to fight you anymore just to start a fight again? Like,
She sounded way
bitch, she
younger
was
than her
so
29 years
unhinged.
old.
Yeah, no, she was very unhinged.
She
And I
sounded like
get,
she was 19.
yeah. So I just didn't like her.
They kept saying, my pretty little reckless wildcat.
Oh, gotcha. I did like that he called her Wildcat all the time. It was
I
cute.
did like that. It just like
I
for being the name of the book, it just kept going.
the
Oh, to be a
okay,
pretty little reckless, a pretty little
that's fine.
reckless.
The only thing I think that bothered me for no other reason besides my brain was I didn't like the fact that as soon as Enzo could speak, he just called her kitten all the time. That was it. For no reason, I didn't like it.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, he called her kitten a lot.
I'm not shocked, but I don't remember.
I don't know why it bothered me. So, all right. So Amazon gives us a 4.4 and Goodreads gives this a 4.0. What is your rating?
I gave it 3 stars.
I also gave it 3 stars. Simply for the fact I wish that there was more backstory throughout the whole thing. And I don't know, there's just, I don't know, a 3. It was still
I
good.
feel
Like,
like
I
this
enjoyed
could have
it,
been
but
cleaned up with beta readers or a proper editor.
yeah, Ariel, we know.
Okay, seriously. I love that everyone is feeling so creative and wants to shoot their shot, and good for them. I
Everyone's
love
so
that for them.
creative.
Everyone's so creative. However, just because you write something doesn't mean it's ready for public consumption and ready to be published.
There's been a lot of
Like,
independent publishing going on.
and that's wonderful if you want to independent, self-published. Let's look at our episode that we just had. That was the debut novel of a independent author.
And it was really good.
And there was like one slight letter interchange, which I'm not going to sit there and nitpick because that happens. If there's a little bit of errors, like if there's a couple errors throughout the book, that happens. Things slip through the cracks. But when you have errors on every page, that's a problem.
Yeah.
When you can't tense your sentences correctly, that's a problem. And that doesn't mean that your story is not good, because this story was good. If this had gone to an actual editor or a good beta reader, they would have caught all these things and caught the inconsistencies, like with the doctor, like with the fact that we didn't get this character fleshed out where we had other characters. You know what I mean? That would have literally been that simple of a fix.
Yeah. Just tighten up the story a little bit and flesh some more things out
And
realistically.
edit.
Yeah, that too. All right. How about your cucumber rating?
Why don't you start? Because I'm trying to remember.
So that means that Ariel's going to rate it low because she can't remember anything.
It wasn't pierced.
It wasn't pierced. So I want to go with like a 5 or 6. It was good. The double stuffing at the end, I wish there was more of it.
I wish, yeah,
But
this is an MMF.
right. I did enjoy the scenes between the boys, and I did enjoy that a lot. So that was really nice.
I wish there were more scenes just between the boys also.
Yeah, so that would have been nice. But I enjoyed the variety that they had, like with everybody. So it was,
And
I
there
did
are no
enjoy it.
scenes just other than the kissing. There
Do
was
you
no
have your
scenes
rating and you
just-
want to talk about it now?
Sorry, yes.
Go ahead.
I wish there was more of a variety of scenes. Yes, we had some with Hawk and Blake. We had some with all 3 of them, but Blake and Enzo didn't get any by themselves. Enzo and Hawk didn't really get any by themselves. We had the illusion of a shower scene that was in her point of view. I want for it to be fully the MMF that I truly, I'm looking for. I want all these pieces. This was a shorter book. I feel like the scene ratio, I don't think they could have really done a lot more with what was going on.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean there was a ton of scenes. So I'm going to rate this a 4.5, maybe a 4.
Okay.
So that was Double Stuffed November. Next,
You're
for
welcome.
our specials. Yes, you're welcome. Our next specials will be December. No, just kidding.
I hate it so much. We're still workshopping the name. She wants December. She wanted a ho 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 for the holidays.
We're going to bring you a fun holiday monster
It's a monster book.
holiday
And
novella.
And it is 63 pages.
So buckle up for that fun ride for
Yeah.
our dive into our holiday novella fantastic extravaganza for December. It's Hovella December. Join us for the ride.
And since we have 2 specials in December, we will have an extra special in December. This is just basically we are almost at the end of the year, and we are going to be progressively more unhinged as our mental health becomes unhinged because we have children and we
I'm
have
losing it.
I know we have children and we're
I'm
trying to get through the
toast.
holidays.
It's officially after 7. I'm toast.
Yeah, because we're trying to get through the holidays and we have children, so we're gonna be unhinged and fucking psychotic for the rest of the school. I keep trying to say school year, and it's not a school year.
Don't forget to keep reading.
And keep it smutty.
I've been waiting all night. Watch you blow a mile. Please don't come over, 'cause you're not sober. Yeah, now you know that ain't right. If your dude knew you was coming over, that would be a problem. Yeah. If our friends knew undercover love and they would try to solve it, yeah.